Plaintiff Untitled Morehead says the defendant is her mother, and she recently had Untitled falsely arrested for child abuse. Untitled claims after she punished her son with a belt for staying out past curfew, the defendant told the police that Untitled beat the child with a belt buckle, so she was thrown in jail. She's suing for the cost of an expungement and emotional distress. Defendant Pamela Morehead says on the day of the incident, her grandson came to her, showed her the bruises on his body, and he's the one who said Untitled beat him with a belt buckle. Pamela admits she was questioned by the police, but insists she wasn't the one who originally called them. She's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Your Honor, I'm suing my mother because she had me falsely arrested for child abuse. Up until that point, our relationship had been very good, off and on, but August of 2015, it took a turn for the worse. After that, I don't know if we'll ever be able to get back to the way that we were. I want to have the charges expunged from my criminal record so that I can go on with my employment and education. The incident that occurred was my son had been out with friends longer than he was allowed to be. When he was brought home by another adult, she had told me that he didn't tell her that he was supposed to be back ahead of the time that she brought him. I ended up using a belt to discipline him that day. He went to my mother's house and she called the police and exaggerated what happened. She wasn't there when the incident occurred. The woman who was there was a member of the city council for our area. And when I was arrested, I had asked the police, I said, well, if the incident was as much as my mother is trying to make it out to be, why didn't the city councilwoman call and report the incident? If that had have happened, then I would have been, you know, okay, fine. But considering that she wasn't the one to report the incident and my mother was, I just feel like she wasn't there to know what had happened. Because she had me arrested, I was late getting him enrolled into school. He ended up missing 2 weeks. He wasn't allowed to participate in the orchestra program, which he is usually...
How did he miss 2 weeks?
He had to miss 2 weeks. They went back to school just before Labor Day. And then during the 3 days after, they had a closed period for registration, and then it reopened about a week after. So in total, he missed about 10 days of school just to try to get him re-registered. But that was only because I spent hours in lockup from this incident.
Why do you think they locked you up?
Well, she had told them that I had used the belt, the buckle of the belt, to beat my son. That's not what happened. I did use a belt, but I did not use the buckle of the belt. And also in the police report, it states that I hit him maybe about 12 times. It had to be about 6 times that I hit him. It wasn't like a vicious whipping motion either. I did that just to prove a point to him and the woman that I wasn't going to tolerate him not listening to me.
And that is a very common form of discipline. However, it's illegal now. And so whatever folks might think of it, it is illegal to spank your kids now. So whatever people think, some folks say, that's ridiculous. I'm going to spank my child anyway because I believe it worked. It worked for me. I know your mama used to do it, but you tried and you're going to get arrested. And, you know, some folks have lost their careers on it. You give me your side, ma'am. Give me some background.
I just want to say I miss my daughter. I love her dearly, and I would never do nothing intentionally to hurt her. And when my grandson came to me that day, he told me it was a belt buckle. I did not say 12 times of hitting him. I never said that. What I did was, when I was getting ready to go to work, when it was raining cats and dogs, he came to my house and showed me what happened. Showed you what? That he had bruises on him from being beat with a belt buckle. That's what he told me.
You saw bruises. That's the key point.
I saw bruises, so I had to go to work. So I said, okay, take a shower, stay here, and I will resolve it in the morning. So when I came home, he told me the cops had been to my house. So he told me he didn't answer the door, that I said, okay, so let me find out what happened. So after I talked to her, I called the police to let them know that he was home at my house, safe and sound.
Because they had already come to your house.
They already had.
The first time they came, you had not called them.
I hadn't called.
Okay.
I didn't know they were coming.
It was after they came to your house that you had to get into it.
Right.
However, what were you going to say about the police coming there the first time? Who called the police that time?
I did. Because my son, when he left, he didn't leave crying. He was not hurt when he left. He was embarrassed.
So, and the police went to her house as a result of you calling?
I did. I called.
All right, well, you put the police in it.
That's not how it happened, Your Honor.
Did they go to her house?
They called her.
Did they go to her house?
They did, but they also...
Did you call them first?
I did, but Your Honor, they called her also because we were looking for him. When he left, that's when I called the police because hours had passed and he hadn't come back. So I was calling to report him missing. When they came and they asked me if I knew of anywhere he would be, I told them about what had happened earlier. I gave them my mother's number and told them that she lives around the corner.
You put your mother in it, and you're suing her for malicious prosecution. And that is someone intentionally, maliciously trying to hurt you, calling and making a charge against you that they know to be untrue. In this instance, she responded, and her response may have led to you being charged. Now let's move on to what happened with the court case, ma'am.
During the court case, the judge there dismissed the case, and she had to refer it over to family court. At that time, I was released on my own recognizance, and I was...
Hold on, you said two different things. You said dismissed, and then you said refer over to family court. Those are two different things.
They're two different courts in our state, Your Honor.
No, but when you dismiss something, you don't refer it any further.
Well, that's what she said that she had to, and I understood.
She had to do what?
Justice of the peace is different from family court where we are. They handle family cases. Here's the paper here that I'm talking about.
So what happened ultimately?
They sent out state workers, the Child Protective Services. They came to my house and they talked to my son. They checked out my daughter at school. They spent a little bit of time with the baby. They had even gone to my son's middle school after he had started. They didn't find any signs of abuse. So when they got to the family court, the case was dismissed there. I agreed to take a parenting class, and the case was dismissed.
Yeah, you just don't know what happened.
After
you don't understand, or either you're trying to mislead a judge who knows that whole process. That's called alternative sentencing. You don't have to do nothing nobody says if your case is totally dismissed. What happened with you, and that's why they told you and you had to go to parenting classes, it's a form of alternative sentencing. Put your hand down. I know exactly what happened. It was dismissed conditional upon you completing this parenting class. Had you not completed it, you would have been convicted. So it wasn't dismissed in its entirety until you finished your parenting classes. So they gave you a second chance. But in order to get that, they have to conclude that they believed you did it. Otherwise, they don't say, go to parenting classes. If they didn't think you did anything wrong, what did you go to parenting class for? You say go to parenting class for what? You just said I ain't do nothing. You think you could have told the judge that? No. 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 Now, I know what that means, and so you're suing her because it's not off your record, obviously, right?
That's correct, Your
All right, and what is supposed to happen, and it did happen, no doubt, is that after you complete that program, that form of alternative sentencing, they give you something stamping it as dismissed. And so you probably do have an order of dismissal. You have that with you today?
The court lost the order of dismissal.
Okay, but I believe it happened. You don't have to tell me. I believe it happened.
Okay,
so, ma'am, I believe it happened. You want to talk too much. Let me explain, because I'm about to give you some advice on how to get it off your record. I know what happened. It happens, unfortunately, too many times. Folks get alternative sentencing where at the end of your probationary period, whatever is required, I got the exact same things. I know how it goes. And I've given those sentences out 1,000 times when I was on the court in Detroit giving out second chances. The part they don't tell you is that you have to go and pay thousands of dollars to hire a lawyer, who then, all the lawyer does, he goes to the county clerk and he gets the order of dismissal. He gets it, and so he takes it to the police department. He says, here's this order of dismissal, remove it from my client's record. That's why you're suing her, to pay for the expungement. I get it. However, she did not maliciously and falsely accuse you of something. Secondly, they put you in alternative sentencing. They've acknowledged that they believe you did something. I recommend that you look in your state for an agency that does free expungements. Otherwise, unfortunately, like most ex-offenders, they got to save up $1,500, $2,000 to pay to a lawyer. All right, but in the meantime, I have to dismiss your claim. What is your emotional distress claim? What did she do to you?
My daughter, she's keeping...
She ain't done nothing to you. Your claim is dismissed, and yours is dismissed also. Good luck to you. Have a good day.
Maybe after some counseling, maybe me and her could get back to the way that we were. But until then, I'm not in any rush.
12, I want you to know I love you. I'm your mom. I'm gonna always be there for you. If you need help with getting it expunged, I'm there for you. I don't have money like that for that.